Good morning. From my family and me to all of you who are here, thanks so much for coming and being with us. It means more than, obviously it means more than I can express. I'm going to share some lessons that my siblings and I learned from our father. There are times when going for a swim is not a good idea. But such times are very rare. If there's something interesting over there that you cannot see from the path, leave the path. But watch out for poison ivy, or snakes, or cliffs. In Tennessee, we have all three. Be adventurous, but be smart. Carry a pocket knife, preferably Swiss Army, and keep it clean. You never know when you'll have to do surgery. When something is broken, don't throw it away and buy a new one. Mend what you have. Put the pieces back together. Not just for the sake of frugality, but for the exercise of ingenuity. One night when my sister Lois was about 4 years old, she looked up at the sky, saw a half moon, and exclaimed, "The moon is broken! Daddy, you can fix it." And he did. Took him 2 weeks. But it was round again. Plant a garden for nourishment, for beauty, to reconnect daily with the natural world, and share the bounty with your neighbors. Walk. If walking won't get you there on time, ride a bike. Or consider a canoe. If there's no alternative to driving a car, all right, drive a car. But let it be an expression of your social and political philosophies. And if you can't fit them all on a half-dozen bumper stickers, write letters to the newspaper. Sing. And every chance you get, sing harmonies with other singers. Keep traditions. There probably aren't many among us here today who think of Dick Braun as a traditionalist. Certainly not in respect to the color coordination of the clothes he chose to wear. But though he would never follow any tradition that contradicted his beliefs or principles or offended anyone else's, he understood the benefit of having good traditions to practice and appreciate, even if he had to invent them himself. In Ghana, where many British traditions persisted after independence from Britain, the day after Christmas was a holiday called Boxing Day. Of course, December in Africa is sunny and warm, so Ghanaians do not celebrate Boxing Day the same way the British do. And our family did not celebrate it the way anyone else did. We would go for a picnic. We would take a small boat out on the Volta River and find a sandbar where we could spread a blanket, or we would trek through the bush to a huge rock outcrop that we'd climb carrying rucksacks and coolers of lemonade, and we'd sit and enjoy the view, eating sandwiches and slices of papaya. Our Boxing Day picnic was as integral to our family Christmas as caroling on Christmas Eve. So our first Christmas in Tennessee, when I was 16 and Lois was 9 and Kwame and Alan were somewhere in between, it didn't strike us as unusual that on Boxing Day we went to Cumberland Mountain State Park and after hiking for a couple of miles found a place to have a picnic. Even around the campfire, it was cold. Particularly for kids who grew up in the tropics. But we knew we were in a different part of the world, so it wasn't too surprising. We didn't see anyone else having a picnic. But we'd never seen that in Ghana either, so we figured that's normal. And we continued our Boxing Day picnics every year that we were together. Even after we'd gone off to college, or found careers in distant places, or settled into relationships that enlarged the family, we would try to gather at Christmas time, and of course, have a picnic outdoors on Boxing Day. We'd hike to Virgin Falls, or Fall Creek Falls, or through the Obed River pocket wilderness that my parents acquired and then donated to the Tennessee Parks and Trails Foundation. But wherever we went, almost every year, it was cold. Sometimes bitterly cold. And we'd ask, why do we do this? And Dad, having by this time been in a few Playhouse productions, replied, tradition! And Mom would say, ha! And that in itself became a tradition. Perhaps you didn't know that Dick Braun was such an old-fashioned person, but he was, in the best way. He inherited his values from his parents and put them to practice along with his wife, who had inherited her values from her parents. And they passed them along to their children, and we hope, that we're passing them along to ours. Kindness is what life is for. For almost everything we do, there is a kind way to do it, and that's the best way. If you have more than you need, give it to those who have less, not just out of charity, but out of a sense of stewardship and fairness and balance. And don't refuse what others want to give to you. It is more blessed to give than to receive, but if you never receive, you deny someone the blessing of being able to give. Never get so comfortable that you can't be disturbed. You're never so well educated that you can't learn something important from someone who's had no schooling. Every person you meet knows something about the world that you don't understand. But there are some truths that everyone knows or feels. And though we may express them in different ways, we must always remember how much we hold in common. You are human. I am human. And this fact is infinitely more significant than anything that separates us. And we can do much more good together than we can by ourselves. Now, I seldom, if ever, heard these words from my father, but I didn't have to hear them to know that he believed them. I saw him live them every day in everything he did. And I know that I'm only one of many who benefited immeasurably from his example. Thank you.